Holy fuck monkeys.
Oh no, your lights.
There's that shiny
There
head.
we go. Now you should be able to hear us. Let's
Right,
turn that up a
I've
little bit.
powdered the head today. It's getting a bit of shine.
So apparently the stream was a little bit quiet last night, I was told. So
That's nice. Okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't when me and Lauren started shouting at each other.
That might be why it ended up quiet as I turned you down.
We were just sitting in the background with popcorn and nobody was typing. You were just jumping in like to the stream. I was
Hello, people. Let's do this. Hello, people of the interweb.
Hello.
Welcome to Heavyweight Gaming. We are a RPG channel and we do lots of RPG stuff. We do Dungeons and Dragons. We do Carbon 2185. We've done Pathfinder to do again in the future. We've done Mask, Tales of the Loop, Vampire the Masquerade, Aliens, and probably some other stuff I've missed. We do lots and lots of it. If you're checking this out on the YouTube channel, well done, you found the YouTube channel. If you're checking this out on the VOD, well done, you found the VOD. We're all over social media, go check us out. Twitter's probably the main thing will be used more and more this year as more and more things happen, mainly me moving house. And so keep a track of us or Broforce. Yeah, that has nothing to do with RPGs, but it is an unbelievable little game if you want to go play it. So we're on social media. We're also in DM's Guild. If you go check out DM's Guild, you can find Tasha's heavier crockpot of bits and bobs. It's sold over 200 copies, and it is rammed full of subclasses and feats and spells, all homebrew, done by a beautiful bunch of my geeky friends who are talented in, one, writing that sort of stuff, and two, supplying art for it. So it's been really cool. So go check that out on DM's Guild. We use Syrinscape for all our background music, which Rob hasn't set up for tonight, I guarantee.
It is. We're good. We're good to go. It's like I'm ready to press play.
Are you?
Yeah.
Am I in it?
I don't know. Did you leave the last one?
Well, yes, because I've got like 4 other shows to do, Roberto.
Make a second account. But yeah, I'll send you a link. Give me a second.
Right, cool. Yeah. So we use Syrinscape, or we try to use Syrinscape for all our background music, ambience.
We're all fine. You're the problem.
Sorry, you didn't send me a link for the call that you have twice a week. Scroll up. Anyway, what was I saying? We use Syrinscape for all our background music. Use it in your own games. Check it out on just Google Syrinscape. It's got an online player app that all your players can listen to. So if you're running a game and you put your music through it, it'll go through their own machines and you can play online. Lovely and great ambience. Really cool. We're also sponsored by Loke Battle Mats.
You've got a link, by the way.
Cool. Loke Battle Mats are a multi-award winning artist. I think they stream on Mondays of all the creations they're doing, but basically they kickstarted some flip-out battle mats, basically, like A3, A4, A5 size. You can throw them on your table. Boom! You've got tundra, magic circles, forests, towns and taverns. Their most recent one at the beginning of the year was a wilderness one, which is exactly that. So yeah, go check out Loki Battle Mats. They're really, 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 really cool. If you want to throw bits at this lot, they get a free reroll. So 200 bits will get the players a free reroll. They have to use it this week. It doesn't carry over. We can't use it on the Dungeon Masters rolls. We can't use it on Death Saving Throws. And we can only ever have 5 at one time. So if we're up to 5, please save your bits till we've used it. And then give us your money. If you look under the stream, if you're watching it on a big enough screen, your phone or whatever, you might have to go to the About. There is a button in our lovely bunch of descriptive stuff beneath the stream. And it is Just Giving donation button. Bright pinky purpley, you can't miss it. If you follow it, it will take you to our page where we are raising money for the McIntyre charity, which is a charity that looks after children, young adults and adults that require help with their learning, autism and a bunch of other stuff that, well, just requires a bit of support really, and they've got 1,200 plus people that they care for. So every year we've done a charity stream. Fuck running a marathon. Let's play some games. So we're doing the same thing this year. We're currently $4,000 plus because, one, the people I play my games with are brilliant and go out of their way to make sure this thing gets some pennies coming in, and the pennies that get brought in again from the community that's built up around us are unbelievable. So $4,000 plus in the last couple of years, and I want to smash that a bit more and get some money raised for McIntyre. So it will be the 24th which is a Saturday, through to the 25th. And it'll be a 24-hour one-shot in the world of Colossus. So if you like D&D, give us your money. If you ain't got any money, rob your mates. They will definitely have money. So, sponsors, bits, Syrinscape, charity stream, social media, heavy stuff. I think we're done, aren't we? Is that it? Is that all good? Right.
Short rest haven't.
Oh, the Short Rest Tavern are some gimmers that played geeky games on a Monday. Look, loads like this lot. Yeah, they are. They've just launched.
My twin brother DMs that one. Yeah.
They I thought you were my twin brother. The Short Rest Tavern are this lot. They've just launched their own Twitch channel a couple of weeks ago, and they're currently going through the Candlekeep Mysteries, which was released not too long ago, on their own Twitch channel. The only difference between what you see now is I have bright red hair. And, a little bit cuter. Only a little bit. And, so go check them out on Mondays, the Short Rest Tavern. We'll stick a link up in the chat to go find them on Twitch. And yes, what we're doing tonight is more Dungeons & Dragons. And we're continuing our Icewind Dale Rime of the Frostmaiden campaign that the ever-stunning, bald-headed, bearded, that's not me, Rob... is dungeon
narrows it down. It could be one of any of us.
Yeah. 4 out of 6 of us.
That's it.
So I will hand.
We're trying to get the others to go bald and bearded, but we're hitting resistance.
One of the shiny ones.
So I'll hand you over to Roberto now, who will give you a beautiful recap.
So welcome back, people of the internet. I'll try to grin like an idiot. I'm grinning because it was a fantastic episode, not that it was it was actually a horrendously tragic, horrible episode, but it was brilliant D&D, so I'm happy for that.
I found it.
You join us at a little bit of a crossroads in the journey. We had a very interesting session last week where, if you want to catch up, I strongly recommend you have a look on YouTube because it was a bit of a corker. So this group of intrepid adventurers have been working their way around the 10 districts, or the 10 little towns and cities that make up Icewind Dale. It's a conglomerate of 10 towns, hence the name, that form the civilization of the area. The group have done a bit of work here and there. They've uncovered some secrets. They've started putting together some grander schemes that may be afoot, and that investigation led them to the Temple of Lythander, the Morning Lord, within the capital of Bryn Shandar, where they met a eccentric gnome called Copper, seemingly a engineer or a breaker who was stripping parts down, organizing things, having to work with a previous friend or work associate, a cartographer called Macredus, seemingly a fellow worshipper of the Morning Lord, who had ventured out and stayed at an old work cabin in the wilderness, working fanatically on a project. The group wanted to speak to Macredus around his knowledge of the area and trying to get a bit more information about a mysterious stronghold that appeared on a map they acquired. So the group head over. There's a fairly reasonable night's rest, and you found your way to this cabin, raised up on wooden stilts, hanging over a precipice that nature was reclaiming. Part of the rocks fell away, the cabin in a severe case of disrepair. So the group headed to the cabin, and after a few missteps, a few testing the rotten timbers holding it above the precipice, they found themselves inside, where our wonderful fighter Celine had a bit of a misstep and fell through some rotted floorboards and plummeted over the edge of the ravine, narrowly avoiding death as Vale, the mountaineer, used the tabaxi abilities to climb down and save her at the last moment. On their return, they hauled themselves back into the cabin as... I've just seen your two Discord names, your Twitch names. Oh, that's what's caught me. On their return, Celine made her way back into the cabin through the hole as Audrey picked up and investigated the artifact that Macredus had been working on. This elemental stone wrapped in this gyroscope of runic iron banding, and the device seemingly triggered, detonating a spell gone awry. For what the room was filled with burning radiance, leaving two of the party vanished, just eradicating them. The rest of the party fell unconscious, with the exception of Vale, who was out of the room climbing up, who managed to cling on for dear life, pull themselves into the room to find two of their companions unconscious and two more scattered into dust. Managed to bring and stabilize and bring to consciousness Gentle Steps and Elkis. And we are going to start tonight's session with Vale, Gentle Steps, and Elkis. You are currently feeling the effects over the last few hours. The climb and the soreness and the fatigue of your exertions, Vale. The sheer level of impact and trauma that Gentle Steps and Elkis have just been through. You pick yourselves up. I need the three of you for me to make perception checks.
On top of my last one last week.
Sure. Yes, sorry. Yeah, I know what you mean now. Just Mr. Heavy, I've sent you the Syrinscape link on the Facebook group chat for you to get dialed into that. Excellent. Thank you. Okay.
16.
And Vale. 12. All three of you spot remains. Two separate sets of heavily charred, ruined bodies, one of which you can see a familiar sword and familiar armor. The room itself, you see some of the frost, all of the frost, all of the ice where the snow piles have kind of gathered is completely gone. The room is kind of this areas are charred. There is remnants of kind of this red glowing embers in some of the timbers that have residual heat. What was your roll, Elkis? 16?
Yep.
You, Elkis, now that a lot of this snow and this room has kind of been shocked back into a little bit of a state of cleanliness almost, you think it's kind of texturing on the wall, but you realize it's not. It's carvings of old, new, and it's the stylized sun of Lythander, the same one that you saw in the temple, the same one that you know to be the symbol of followers of Lythander the Morning Lord, and it seems to be in one shape or form carved all over this room. The walls, the tables, it just looks like it's been fanatically marked. But yeah, you're all three of you are very aware there's only three of you, and that you are a few feet away from charred remains.
What happened?
There was a flash, and
You're gonna have to be better than that.
heat, and I smell like barbecue.
Gentle Steps.
Oh.
Adrian, Celine.
I think that's them.
You do spot the longsword, the runic enchanted longsword that Celine used on the floor.
I'll crouch down and sort of like flick the ash away. Pick up the sword. I don't know where they are, but I don't think she'd leave her sword.
You see, as you're kind of going there, you spot, now that you're up close, you also spot the breastplate, and you also spot the encased troll finger.
Do we
What?
see the orb that Adri will play with?
You do. On the other set of remains, you see on the
pick it
floor the small, almost like gold inlaid piece of coal. Imagine like a very bright golden vein running through a piece of like charcoal, and then it's suspended by 2 metal pins into a ring of iron, and then another ring of iron is bolted into that, almost as a gyroscope. And you can see runes across its outside, and it's currently in the grip of one of the remains.
I think Adri set that off. I
Make an art-
found notes right in the shed.
Why? Looking
I
down
don't
on
know
my
what it did.
burnt flesh.
I don't know what it does, but there was notes in the shed. It was something to do with trying to change the darkness. I'm trying to bring the sun back.
At this point, you are aware of the wind hammering the side of the building you're in. The wind whistles through the now cleared gaps in the roof, where before snow and ice kind of plugged some of the holes. The wind comes through a few of the, those with hair and those with furs and things. You can feel the wind rustling through, and it's a little bit more exposed to the elements. You hear the central door in the room. There is like a thud, a dull thud.
Like someone knocking or something hitting.
Somewhere in the middle.
I think it's for you, Elkis.
For me?
Just to refresh your guys' memories of the room that you're in. So the actual cabin space that you're in has the central table, which is where you found the original device and the first set of remains. There is now a section of the floor that is missing. A door leads back out onto the balustrade on the outside, and within this central room there are 3 doors leading into rooms.
Before
You
anything
went
else,
into the workshop. You've been in there.
I came straight in here, but before we move, I'm going to cast Cure Wounds on myself and Gentle Steps.
Okay.
That is 8 HP for Gentle Steps.
8, thank you.
Yep, and 10 for me, Sarah.
As I look down at the body that was holding the orb,
Mm-hmm.
do I see a bag of tricks?
Make an investigation check.
Do I see a bag of snacks?
Potential
Nice.
snacks. It's not particularly pleasant, but yeah, you kind of move the body to one side, and beneath the remains you do find the small bag of grey tricks, and you also find the gilded scroll case.
I'm just gonna like shake it off, like put it in my pocket.
There's the gilded scroll case as well. The bag that Audrey had, the spellbook bag, seems to be very badly damaged and charred, and seems to be no longer fit for holding things in. But the scroll case is unmarked, as is the bag. As is the bag of tricks is unmarked. It seems fine. Dusty, but otherwise.
Yeah, I'll take the bag of tricks and the scroll case.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there's loads of symbols and stuff on the walls. They're the same as that temple we was in with my friend Copper. And I'm going to go to the door and see if I can listen for movement.
While they're doing that, I will scoop what is clearly the remains of Celine and the other one. And we'll scoop them together. And I'll go to the...
Push them into the hole.
Well, that's literally what I'm going to do. I'll scoop them up and I'll go to where it hangs out over the ravine. And I'll just...
The armor and the sword, the armor and... I'm gonna... Hang on.
Loot the dead! Loot the dead.
I've just got the ash.
That's cold.
Not the armor and the sword, let's leave.
And I'll just throw the ash out ceremoniously in sprinkles down the ravine, muttering in giant.
Did we know any clerics that... Okay.
They're all dead.
You're the paladin.
Yeah.
I'm not a cleric. Now Reese might be able to help them, but she's
While
dead too.
as you're going about
I'll
this,
whisper a
and
prayer in giant.
you almost simultaneously on the central door and the far right door, you hear the same soft thud. Dum dum, dum dum,
It's Patrick Swayze.
It's Terminator.
dum dum dum. Do-do-do-do-do. No, yeah, you hear this soft. This is a terrible somber moment, damn it, guys.
It's not.
There is this dull rhythmic thud. It's just a short, sharp staccato, and it's offset from each other, but from the two separate doors.
Have I finished doing my little ceremonial prayer?
Yeah, you kind of spend just
I
a
open-
moment and
I
you go through
open the
that
nearest
process.
door.
The nearest door to you would be neither of the door the noise came from.
I'll open the nearest door to me where the noise came from.
Okay.
I'm at the other one, I think.
Okay.
Whichever
So
one I
between the
went to.
two of you, so the middle door you're at gentle steps. The far right door Elkis is at gentle steps. You open the door. In that room appears to be a halfway point between a metal shop and a lab, or is what you best would understand to be like an alchemical lab. You have, and there's an empty fireplace, some empty bookcases strewn across the floor. You have loads of papers, documents, journals. Some of them are kind of torn, looks like creatures have eaten away at them. There's ice and rime kind of covering some of the others. And on the desk itself seems to be this almost like small clay sculpture. Other than that's Elkis, in your room, you opening the door as well? You going into that room at the same time?
I want you to listen and then slowly
Okay.
open it, if I can hear out.
Sure. So you open the door. It appears to be a bedroom. There is this very saggy double bed that looks, mildewy, long since cared for. Wooden planks have been crudely nailed over one of the windows to kind of hold the wind out the best you can. And this room seems less hit by the snow and ice as the others. You've a small bookcase containing some folded clothes. There's some sheets of parchment, some calligrapher supplies, and a fireplace in this room, which appears to have kind of long since burnt out remnants in it.
I can't see anything, guys.
Do I see anything in here that could have caused the thud?
Roll a perception check for me, please.
Same on my side.
Ooh, 8.
Ooh. Not got your proficient eyes on, I see.
Doesn't look like
They
it.
were
It
burnt
just-
out
it-
of the sockets.
It looks like a badly equipped, low on supply alchemy lab. It doesn't appear to be anything near the door.
I want to detect good and evil celestial fiends or undeads.
Okay.
Audrey, you there?
So you do detect good and evil. You are aware that this space has been consecrated.
Hmm.
It's not a particularly strong or recent consecration, but you are aware that there is a heavy magical presence of consecrated area, consecrated space.
Can I tell if that's what the symbols are for?
Make an Arcana check, but make a straight intelligence check.
I'm not very intelligent. That would be a 5. Fuck knows.
You're not sure. You're not your deity doesn't kind of go down that level of symbology. It's more action and kind of there's more nature theming. You don't really have dedicated temples and iconography as heavy as this, so it's not really a practice you're familiar with. You probably think they're connected, but you're not sure how or in what way.
Oh, this room's been consecrated, guys. There's symbols everywhere for this sun fella.
Why would someone consecrate a room? What benefits does that pose?
While you're having this conversation, gentle steps, there is a light gust around the room, and you see some of the papers on the floor kind of twirl in place, like almost like a localized like flurry, and then they resettle in place.
Elkis, why would someone consecrate a room?
I've gone back to Vale.
Okay.
I don't know. It's not something that me and Nerys bothered with.
Do you know what any benefit? Why? Like, what would you do it for? Is it a protection thing or like a
Do I know, Rob?
Not on a 5, you don't. Like I say, it's not a religious practice you're familiar with. You just know that has something to do with their worship in some way. You're not quite sure what the purpose or anything around it would be.
I can feel it. I don't know what it's for. And like, can you see the symbols everywhere?
Okay.
I'm
gonna head out of the room. I can see the symbols. I've got no idea what they mean. But is that part of the mission?
Sorry, you're lagging out there, Vale. Can you say that again?
I just said, replying to Elkis, I said I can see the symbols, but is that part of the consecration? What do the symbols mean?
I assume so. They're the symbols that of the person, the sun person, the temple we've just been to.
The Morning Lord?
That dude. If I want to bless something, I tend to just moon them.
I'm going to walk out and go to the room that Jess is in. So, is there anything interesting in here? That other room has been consecrated. What's going on here?
Is it the main room that's been consecrated, the one with a hole in the floor?
It's the one with the fire in.
The central space.
Yep.
All right.
I mean, it's like the energy fades away from that room. You get the feeling there was a centralized location of the spell that kind of covers a radius, and that kind of then dissipates as it reaches the edges of the cabin. It covers parts of some of the rooms and misses off like corners and things.
Is there a way to tell, speaking to Elkis again, is there a way to tell how recent a consecration was? Like,
Not a 5.
how... Yeah, not a 5. Let me roleplay. Is there a way...
No! Haven.
How could this be what the blast was? Like, when did this happen? Were these drawings here before? I mean, I dived into this room and went straight down a hole, so I didn't see this room before it went off.
They were here when I came in. I saw them before I tried to help gentle steps with the rope, but then the blast went off. I don't know, maybe it's what the fella, McCready, maybe he believed in this guy and he carved them all over, but I think he might have gone the same way as Adri.
Rob, if I look around at the walls and stuff, does it look significantly damaged? Like, 2 people have just been decimated. Does the room look damaged, like, to the extent that it should do? Like, is there like charring on the walls and on the floor, and is it really horribly damaged, or does it look
the building's damaged, and there's little glowing embers where the heat is kind of there's charred timbers inside of the room? It doesn't look like the interior has caught fire, but it looks like it has been hit by a very short, intense blast of heat, almost like if you imagine in real life, like someone scorching wood with a blowtorch. It doesn't catch fire, but it chars. It's kind of that feeling.
It looks, there's nothing I think what I'm asking is there's nothing untoward about, like, the damage looks like it should
It's
do.
consistent. It's consistent.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
At this point, the papers flurry again, and kind of, rather than flurrying in place, they flurry towards gentle steps. They kind of bluster around and then settle once more on the floor.
I'll pick them up.
And Elkis, you feel like a nudge at the back of your head.
I'll pick up the papers.
There's something in here. Something's just nudged me. Can I see behind me?
Doesn't appear to be anything there.
Something's just nudged you.
Yes, there's something in
I'm
here
gonna-
with us.
What's on
I'm
the,
going to get my bow out and knock an arrow and
what's
say
on the
we've dealt
papers?
with invisible things before.
We have. I didn't feel any undead or anything like that. It's something else.
What's
I
on
mean,
the
Gentle
jerk
papers?
or living.
Gentle steps. The documents you pick up seem to be various sets of designs, ways of putting things together. If you spent a little bit of time with them, you may be able to get a little bit more from them, but they're quite dense, and you need to. They're a little bit
Is there
damaged
anywhere
and
to
weather
sit
worn.
here?
Say again, sorry.
The room I'm in, is there anywhere to sit?
Perch on the end of the table, should you be inclined.
I'll perch on the end of the table and start going through that.
Okay. While this is happening, I would like Vale, Elkis, and Gentle Steps to mute their headsets, please, for me.
As in your sound?
Just
Yeah,
mute my sound.
I need the three of you to not be able to hear what I need to say to two other people. I'll
We
give
should
you a
have told me
wave.
before the stream. I don't know how to do this.
Trying to figure it out.
Yeah, because I use a telly as mine. I will sit like this.
Someone speak.
Hello, 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 hello.
So we're gonna.
One second. Whoa. Ray, you're all sorted.
No, I was gonna say, are we now gonna talk about inappropriate things about that we need to do to AD, perchance, in regards to like its bald head and shine it up?
So, you two.
Good.
You are.
Or he has poker face like I do.
So, the pair of you are in the room. You are in this grey, watercolor-esque, shadowy echo of the space you were once in. The spirit that you were talking to, that you know as Macredus, is still there with you. And kind of is watching you two curiously as you bump around the room and try and gain the attention of those who remain. You said that you'd like to try and speak with him.
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to say?
I'll turn him and my weird self. Do you recall in any of your notes that the device works?
Yes.
Will it do anything to us? Will it help us in any way, all three of us?
The Morning Lord put me on this path to bring the light and the warmth, his warmth, back to these lands. And I was close. I'm sure the
You're
device...
still here, which means something good for all of us.
I think the Morning Lord believes I can... He still has purpose for me. Still has reason for me to fulfill this. This is
What
the meaning
do
of...
you need from us? Because I don't know where to start.
I believe...
I don't know your research.
The device must be... It almost work. The spell began to take form and the rings began to contain it, and then at the last second it breached and failed. There must be an oversight, something not quite there. It can't be anything
Missing
major.
rings?
I don't know if I thought I'd got it right. There's notes all around here. There's a few of Copper's belongings in the bedroom, and after...
Are you able to move any of this stuff like we are?
Initially, at first, I was able. As time's taken its toll, it's been able to have less and less impact.
And you see the stuff clearly, or you said it was becoming a little blurry for you.
It started out clear enough. I felt like I was here. I could tip things over. I could feel a weight on the floor. And over the last, who knows how long, few days now, it's lessened and lessened, and the vision's going hazier and hazier.
So has that happened gradually day by day, or would you say that's happened gradually with each movement you've made?
I think day by day. I just think the connection to this plane is waning.
So do you think that if I pick up random documents and read them to you, that you can say yes or no for them, for their value?
If it's anything like what happened when I ended here, the language doesn't make sense. I can see the letters, but they just don't make sense anymore. It's like
I'll turn to Adri and be like, she speaks every language of this realm and possibly others.
Depends whether it's actually legible.
That's true.
There must be something in these notes. There must be something in either one of the journals, something I've overlooked, something I've missed. I'm sure of it.
So Celine's going to turn and she's going to look at one document and just, can she figure out?
As you look, the letters are there, but to you, it's just a swirl of nonsense.
Okay.
You have no way of
Adrian be like, I don't know what this is.
The same when you see Adrian, the same.
Yeah. Okay. So
you're saying these documents. Yeah, go on, Adrian.
I got nothing.
So these documents.
There must be something here.
Are they legible when you were alive?
Yes, I wrote them in my own hand. I just think being trapped here prevents the understanding. Maybe we lost our knowledge.
I have an idea.
Form we're in, we don't have this capability to understand. It might be why we.
Do you remember where were the last most important documents laid? Were they on the floor, on a table?
I don't remember. There's some bits and pieces with Copper's journal in the bedroom. They had different thoughts about the design than what I did. But I was convinced my design should have worked. It was fine.
Okay. Copper is a pretty smart creature.
Well, let's do trial and error. We don't have much to lose, don't we?
I say we try and find Copper's belongings. Because maybe it's something that you've missed, but maybe Copper picked up on it.
Maybe.
It'd be a fluke that. Let's just trial and error. Trial and error.
Going to go back to the main room.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Welcome back.
Hello.
Can you all hear me? Hello. Elkis, Vale, Dental Steps. Thank you for that. It's the only way I can really speak to two different groups and two different parties at once. Can you hear me, Gentle Steps? You back with us? Cool. Okay. So, as you were, guys, you felt the bump in the back of your head, and Gentle Steps over the last sort of while Elkis and Vale were talking, you've had a few minutes to look through these documents. Now, there is all sorts mixed in here. There are designs around metal crafting, ways to have shapes and composite metals, and how to hold arcane energy. There are documents around what the best kind of magic would be to bring warmth and light. There are notes around designs of restricting and focusing arcane magics in a physical device. There are documents around methods of smelting and tinkering and blacksmithing, measurements, balance points, how to remove impurities from metal. It seems to be not particularly well organized, but it seems to be make me a general intelligence check. You, from all this, you've 10-15 minutes isn't that long to have gone over things. You get the gist that through some form of tinkering and from some sort of mechanical function, they were trying to control a spell, an arcane spell within a device, and that these designs are all the relevant stages, processes, experiments, and theoretical designs of how that would be possible.
Noted. Hello. Oh. Hello.
Oh, I can hear you. Rob, can you hear AD?
Yeah. Sorry, was that aimed at me?
Yeah.
Well, I said noted, and then that was that. You just.
Yeah. That's what you determined from your 10-15 minutes of reading.
I'm still going to be standing around very anxiously with a bow and arrow in hand, pointing it at air.
Elkis, you hear what appears to be papers scattering across the floor in the room you were in. The bedroom area that you were in previously. You're muted, can't hear you.
Nope.
There we go. Ooh.
Nope.
Yeah, can hear you.
Stupid headset. I am going to walk through to the bedroom, hammer out, and carefully look for these papers. Or the sound that I hear.
Some of the documents that were partially charred and burned in the fireplace seem to have now be scattered across the room.
I'm going to go look at them.
Investigation check for me, please.
I can't find them. That would be a 2.
2.
We are on it tonight, kids.
You, there's a bunch of charred documents. The soot and the dirt and whatnot on them obscures them too much. Nothing really stands out to you.
I'm going to pick them up anyway and take them back to Vale.
Okay.
I'm still looking around to see if I can see what's moving shit.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm going to take them through and Vale, these were blowing across the floor. I've no clue what they are, but...
I'll take a look. Without putting down my bow, I'm just going to look over like their shoulder. Yeah.
If you want to have a look, make an investigation check for me, please, as well, though.
15.
Yay!
You look through them, and it seems to be, most of them are too heavily charred, right? They look long since, there's no glowy embers, it looks like they're long since discarded, days old, at the minimum. One of them catches your attention as you thumb through them, and you notice a signature or a name at the bottom of a handwritten note, and the name at the bottom, sticking out on this folded paper, appears to be Copper.
Can I read the letter? Is it legible or is it destroyed?
It's part of it, as you get the main message of this letter. As this is happening, gentle steps, you feel almost like a nudge against the side of your head. Like something, almost like someone's thrown something at your head, like a pebble or something. You don't see anything, but you feel this little impact on the side of your head. Not enough to cause any damage, but enough to go like, ah, motherfucker.
Hello.
Vale, you read, Dear Macredus, I've had enough of this relentless cold. I feel it creep into my bones, my head, my heart. I'm heading back to 10 Towns for a decent meal and a warm bed, the first in weeks. I fear this endless winter has numbed your mind, and any tinker worth their chains can see the summer star is a fool's errand. Maybe, without me here to incessantly complain to you, you'll snap out of this obsession. If you truly insist on dedicating your remaining days to this doomed project, might I suggest 3 is better than 2. I considered telling you before. You were particularly rude about the dinner I made last night and left it untouched. I won't be here when you awaken. May the light of the morning Lord protect you. Copper.
I'll read that out loud to, I think it's just Elkis in the room, and then just say, little fucker. Didn't tell us the whole story.
Really what? Yeah, he was here.
Yeah. Working with Macredus on whatever caused this damage. The summer star.
Would you like me to repeat the message?
You can do. It's called the Summer Star. He was here, but he'd had enough. He thinks it's a fool's errand. 2 is better than 3. And 3 is better than 2. 2 is better than 3. Yes, please repeat it, Rob.
Macredus, I've had enough of this damn relentless cold. I feel it creep into my bones, my head, my heart. I'm heading back to 10 Towns for a decent meal and a warm bed, the first in weeks. I fear this endless winter has numbed your mind, and any tinkerer worth their chain can see the summer star is a fool's errand. Maybe without me here to incessantly complain, you'll snap out of this obsession. If you truly insist on dedicating your remaining days to this doomed project, might I suggest that 3 is better than 2. I considered telling you before, but you were particularly rude about the dinner I made last night. Found it practically untouched. I won't be here when you awake. May the light of the morning Lord protect you. Copper.
3 is better than 2. Summer Star. Yeah, he'd been. It said about his final days. Did Copper know that something was going to happen? If he's wasting his final days on this fool's errand, was Macredus ill?
Am I still in the room by myself?
The door's open. You can kind of hear this conversation. You're in the room by yourself, yeah, but your back's to the open door and you can hear the conversation.
I'll be like, I won't look towards Vale now because I'll still be looking around the room for the little shitbag that keeps hitting me on the back of the head. It just sounds like a term of phrase, like live out your days, grow old. I don't think there's anything beyond that.
What do you think there was 3 of? Or what is this?
People,
Summer
3
Star?
minds better than 1, 2 birds, 1 stone. People say funny things.
3 is better than 2.
Maybe they sent somebody away. And Copper suggested that the 3 of them would have been better than the 2 of them.
At this point, you hear the familiar thud on the door again.
I'd say 5's better than 3, but...
Thud, thud, da-dum, da-dum, da-dum on the door. You also notice the device in Audrey's remains drop out of her grip and roll a few inches across the floor and come to rest.
I thought they were just ash.
They are, well, it's like charred remains.
Okay.
Can I examine it without touching it? I don't want to pick it up. I just want to look at it.
Where did these come from?
Face dive off the cliff as soon as
Never!
I'm taking my chances.
I regret nothing!
Goliath.
No one has
I'll
told
take
Vale
it.
anything about how this explosion happened, so no,
We
I'm not going
don't
to touch
know.
it. I just want to look at it. I don't want to I don't want to.
Okay. So you make an investigation check with disadvantage because you're trying to view something that you can't quite get a good angle.
I'm not going to touch.
Yeah. Your
With
attention,
disadvantage.
you're trying to look closely at something without looking closely at it.
Oh, 16 and a 17. So with disadvantage, that is 18.
That's
Plus 2.
39. Okay, so you
39.
Yeah.
you see this device. It appears to be this equivalent golf ball size piece of black ore that seems to have these golden veins running through it. There is a single metal bar that goes through the center, which is then affixed to a metal ring around it. Attached to that metal ring, at the opposite angle, is another ring. So it's in a gyroscopic kind of formation. You see a number of engraved runes across the outside of both of these rings.
In the workshop that I went into before, there were rings? That was this campaign, or is this a different campaign?
Raid.
Hi everyone, welcome to tonight's episode. Nice to have you all on board.
Pitch.
Ahoy.
I can't do it, but I'll give it a go. No, that's Chewy's cousin.
As this is happening,
Marlboro
Dale,
line.
you hear there is a dull thud right next to you on the floor twice.
Like right next to me.
Right next to you.
Is anyone else experiencing weird things? Like Elkish, you got hit on the back of the head, is that right?
Yes.
I am going to say, if there's anyone else here, reveal yourself if you're invisible. No point in hiding. We won't hurt you unless you hurt us.
Come out with maybe.
Come out with your hands up.
Adrius, that's you. Knock 3 times.
She's dead.
There's something here.
I'm gonna back to what I was saying about the rings. Do I remember in the workshop there was rings? Is that right?
There were components. There was metal strips and parts of mechanics.
And there are 2 on this orb.
Yeah, there's a central brick of black ore, 1 ring pinned into that, and then another ring pinned to the first ring.
I'm gonna look at Elkis and go, 3 is better than 2? 3 rings?
I pick up.
They were making something in there.
I pick it up.
I don't want to.
Can you pick it up?
Yeah.
Was that?
I run into the bedroom.
As this is happening, you hear kind of almost this metallic like ting as the device itself kind of nudges forward across the floor 3 times.
I'm not fucking touching you.
I pick it up.
Back off.
Gentle steps, you pick it up.
Yes.
Okay.
I leave the room.
You hold it in your hand, and there's kind of a tense catch of breath as everyone kind of seemingly there is no effect. There is change to its coloration, its weight, its temperature. It appears.
Is that? Do I see anything in the room that it could sit in? You say it's
Make
golf
an
balls.
Yeah, make an investigation check.
Let's stick my head back out the bedroom door.
You two are far too touchy. Ignore the scorch marks across my entire body.
I am the only one. The damage that Vale has taken from this ordeal is emotional. Okay, Vale is fine, and I'm not having that change.
16.
Appear to be. I mean, there's shelves and tables and things, but nothing. There's no like indentations or holders or holsters or clips or anything that kind of looks specialized, designed to hold it or anything like that.
Does it look like the imagery on the paperwork I was looking at? Are there any similarities between it and
the similarities? Yeah, you can see how this is the result of those documents. You don't find any kind of perfect match, and it's kind of a.
It's an assumption.
It looks like at the end of a progression.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go into the workroom I
Light.
went into and see if the materials in there match what the orb looked made out of.
So in that room is a set of blacksmithing tools, a set of tinkering tools, some scrap metal, some there's materials seem consistent. They seem unrefined, but they seem consistent.
Where did the thud on the door come from? Which door was that?
Sorry, Alkis.
It's the The thuds.
Sag.
The thuds on the door before Gentle Steps picked it up. Was that on a different door?
No, it's on the. You've had thuds on the door you went into, and thuds on the door that Gentle Steps went into. There is a third door on the far left. Neither of you have been in.
Did we hear thuds on that one? Because you said there was a third set of thuds.
Those thuds are on the floor.
Elkis.
Wow. Okay. Yes.
Can you speak to those beyond life?
I can shout.
I'll take that as a strong maybe.
Never change, Tony. Never change.
I've never tried.
Shout, I guess.
If they're listening...
I don't mean the other side of the room.
I can just do Elkis screaming into this corpse's face.
Can you hear me?
Just rattling like just a charged skull. Hello.
Worst priest ever.
Well, I tried asking if Adri was here to bang on the floor, but there was no more bangs.
Adri is a bit of a banger.
Yeah.
Adri is dead. Like.
I think one of you is a lot more pragmatic than the other two here, right? I'd like to gather the remains and give them a nice send-off. I loot them!
And I'm the rogue.
Audrey's dead 10 minutes ago. Have we not moved on since then?
Got an adventure
Why are
to
we
do.
still here?
There's a tavern down there with 2 adventurers in it.
Why are we still in this place?
Why are we still in this place, Vale? Elkis, why are we still
there's
here?
a door there that's not been opened. I figure we should do that. before we
I
go.
open the door.
Because there's something here poking me in the head.
There's something
Yeah, so
poking
bang
me
on
in the head,
doors.
but if they can't communicate over them poking us in the head, what do you want to do? What's
you
beyond the door?
You open the door and there's a very potent scent of very overripe, gone off, spilled, broken bottles of wine and fruit. That the fruit has long blackened and molded, and there's this huge, sweet, sickly aroma hits you, and you can see a number of casks of wine in this room. So most of the barrels seem in various states of disrepair. Some of them seem to have leaked across the floor, so, all of them covered in kind of frost and mildew.
That's all the doors. Why are we still here, Vale?
Vale, you hear 3 taps on the workshop door.
Because of that.
We can't do anything about it. The only person I know that is even remotely in touch with that sort of realm is Elkis, and his response was to get louder. Are you able to speak with those beyond the realm?
No, but I can follow
Taps.
an instruction if I feel well. Are they leading us somewhere? They tapped on the floor. You picked up the orb. But now they're tapping on the workshop.
I picked up
Just
the
mean
orb
it, so
because
why
you
don't-
didn't, not because they tapped.
Okay, well, it still could have been an instruction to pick it up. So bring it. Let's go into the workshop door.
I'm
Bring it
going
in
into
here.
the workshop.
Yeah.
Walk into the workshop with the grenade.
I take cover behind
Summer
anything
star.
in there.
I'm a star.
We're in the workshop, Dungeon Master. Water
Listening
taxes.
for taps. 4 taps this time. We're listening for.
So, in the workshop, one of the pieces of metal, it appears to be not as nice, not as refined, not as polished, not as finished as the metal on the device, skitters a little bit across the table.
Do it. Yes. This is 3 is better than 2. Put it on it. We need to make it on that. Go.
I'd just like to point out, I live in the tundras, and I'm currently wearing dead animal. Creating a summer's star is not my forte.
I mean,
I can steal you the summer's star if you wish.
I smack things with
we
a hammer.
need to have a
You
go.
are not a
like,
tinkerer,
just because-
Helkis, alright? Just
Yeah, but-
because.
Just because it's not
Not
something
that
that
kind of tinker.
Yeah.
just because it's not something that we can do, we need to have a go. There's no point in not
Yeah.
trying. I don't think.
I will
at this
take
point.
Well-
I will take the skittering metal piece and see.
Oh, it's skittering. It kind of tumbled and laid inert on the table.
The thing we are aimed at, I will take. Yep.
Okay.
I will look at the golf ball grenade and the skittering piece, and I will see if there is like a bit of a jigsaw or a sort of Rubik's cube missing a piece type thing.
I am going to
Hit
go
it with the
back into
hammer.
the room and stick my head around the door again.
Make me an Arcana check, please, Gentle Steps.
The bravest
You kind of try
of
and
them.
get your
Arcana?
Arcana
Use those loaded dice. Come on.
from your tribal background as you try and comprehend modern science.
Hey, we made it this far up north.
Gentle Steps puts his glasses on.
20.
Hey!
There's a moment
That was a
of
19
just
plus
like-
1.
This doesn't make sense. And out of nowhere,
You're
you
right.
just kind of. There is no place for like you look and suddenly you've got all the red sides together. It's like, how the fuck did that happen?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like there's a place for this piece of metal to fit onto the device. It appears that for it to do that, should you wish to do that, you would need to either smell or create, or it would have to be forged. It would have to be physically worked on to enable to attach it.
From the door. Shall we take it to copper?
Yes.
Elkis, you hear in the bedroom a sound of either a jar or some glassware tip over.
What
A
the fuck?
thud.
I'm gonna run into the bedroom. So, Adri, what are you doing?
You see a small pool of ink that is now seeping out of the calligraphy set on the desk as the inkwell is on its side and the ink is slowly pouring across the desk.
It was Warlock Adri in the bedroom with the inkwell with crap tickets.
I'm gonna slowly walk over to it with my hammer and have a look at this ink on the thing.
Moment, it's just
Have a look with my hammer.
it's just slowly pulling across the desk and just starts dripping onto the floor.
While these two are walking around with every weapon they own out, I have not taken a weapon out.
Very anxious.
There's something in here.
Like Candlekeep is when everything's a mimic. This isn't that campaign.
You got us anxious, Rob. You got us anxious.
I smashed the desk. Is it dripping in any pattern? Is it
Die,
on the
medics!
desk?
Come!
Is there anything in the desk?
It's just spreading out as physics entails, and as it runs over the edge, it's just dripping as water does.
Is there
I'm gonna-
anything else in the room?
Not that you haven't already seen. Doesn't appear
gonna-
like there's not enough in the room to be hiding anything else.
Is there,
You
any,
need privy.
is there a mirror in the building?
You haven't seen one, no.
Can
You've
I
not
look
been very useful,
for a mirror?
Ghost. You've been too subtle.
I'm gonna step out and say, do some. If we're to take this to copper, do
In
something else.
in your hand, Elkis, the letter that you have, the folded paper, you feel the pressure on it, and as you look down, you can see a ring of smudged ink circle Copper's name.
Yeah. I'm gonna go back to the other foot. Copper.
It doesn't get any more obvious than that. I mean, let's go.
I think the ghost of Adri wants us to go see Copper.
Why Adri and not Celine?
Dunno. She seems the spooky one.
Don't want Elkis. Don't get your hopes up that it's either of them. Like at this point, they are still very dead.
Can I just ask the three of you to go silent again for me, please? I appreciate it's massively inconvenient, but I can't ask you to leave the room because we're in Zoom.
Turn it off.
Thank you for your cooperation. We're gonna zoom across to activity elsewhere.
So we're in the tavern.
1 second. Can you guys hear me? Tony, Ree, AD? No, okay, cool. Macredus is kind of a little bit more curious with what you're doing. For the sake of brevity, he warns you strongly in moving a volatile arcane device outside of the wards placed on the building.
Okay. Shit.
He over the last sort of 20-30 minutes while this has been happening, you could see the kind of carrying himself with a air of importance. There seems to be a bit of deflation. There seems to be a little bit of defeatism hit him, especially when Elkis read out, or when Vale read out Copper's letter aloud. That seemed to have struck a chord with him, and he looked a little, taken aback. Maybe Copper was right. Maybe
You remember how you got the rings in here?
made them in the workshop. The whole device was made here.
Okay, so
And then the
how,
ring was just slipped on?
how did they attach the rings?
Maybe I forged the 2 rings. I engraved them myself, and I hammered the pin through.
So you have to take out the pin, put another ring on, and then put the pin back in, correct?
To add another ring on, you'd have to forge another ring. You'd have to inscribe the runes in the right way, and then assemble it.
Are they the same runes?
Simply, yes. There's a repeating pattern across the rings.
So it's the exact same, verbatim.
Yeah, so the same 3 runes repeated around. It's a containment spell. It's without having someone attuned to arcane to channel such high level magic through. The rings act as a containment, as almost like a reducer. It attenuates the spell and stops its full power from tearing itself apart. If there was no rings on, the whole place would have been leveled. It seems maybe Copper's right, and it needs a third.
So we shouldn't let this holy grenade essentially leave this building, correct?
If this device crosses the threshold of the building, the wards aren't in place. My connection to the Morning Lord grows faint, but there seems to be an element of them. I can feel their gaze, their guidance, saying that's limiting things, that's keeping things bound to this place.
So that grenade leaves the building, we gone. Like, I don't have time for this. I have my own patron. I'm genuinely surprised that the Thunder is keeping me here, in all honesty, and I'm not already burning in hell.
I think if this isn't resolved under this House of the Morning Lord, then their light will no longer shine down on us.
Oh, so, Celine, we do everything possible to knock the grenade out of their hand, make them go get Copper, and bring Copper back. So we just need to keep smacking this grenade out of people's hands.
Can we smack the grenade out of their hands and shove one of them out the door as well?
I don't think we are strong enough to be able to push someone out of a door. We can barely move papers around. Use your brain, sweetie.
Okay.
I don't want to end up permadead, because then I end up going back to that bitch. I don't want to have to deal with that. I've pissed her off somewhat. You understand? I surprisingly have a lot to live for at this point now.
Leia knows exactly who she's dealing with on the patron side. So she'll just nod and go, whatever you 2 tell me to do, I will do.
We just need to make sure this grenade does not leave.
Something that you 2 have noticed over the last sort of hour that you've been in this state is something that you weren't first aware that you felt, and it's more noticeable for you, Audrey. Normally, you've got this lingering, knowing feeling at the back of your neck that there's this constant connection to your patron. That connection feels different. There's still a connection there, but you feel that connection is elsewhere at this current moment. Celine,
Almost like it's being blocked.
Celine, you feel like for the first time probably in your life that something bigger than you that you can't understand is with you in a very faint roundabout way, that something you can't explain is watching over you. He's somehow keeping you in the form that you're currently in, keeping you tethered to this plane.
She'll just kind of look around and just be confused because it's not something she's used to, and just visibly
Macredus slumped
looks
down.
around and goes,
Again, when I first came here, Copper was worried about us not being back at the temple, and that in this frozen wasteland, the Morning Lord's light wouldn't see us, wouldn't guide us, wouldn't offer us the guidance we needed. So we sanctified this place. We covered the walls in his imagery and the symbol of the sun to hallow the ground we walk on, so we can feel their light and to guide our work, to give us every best chance we had at undoing the damage of the land, to let the people here feel his light once more.
understandable. Tell me one thing. You said you smelted these rings on your own.
That's right.
Do you think our people are able to do this on their own as well?
It's not an easy task, but it's not an impossible one.
Celine, they wouldn't in the first place to start with the runes. I have a feeling this is a Copper situation. Copper is going to know. He's going to know because he straight away went, yeah, no, 3 is better than 2. Copper is going to know this shit.
Copper's good with the design, but Copper hasn't built anything. Copper salvaged things. Copper...
Did you ever give Copper the opportunity?
Copper preferred to take things apart. Had a knack for finding the safest ways of disassembling things to save components, fragile components to be used in projects.
So if he can
still useful.
If he can save fragile components, I'm pretty sure that he could make or restore a component.
Or if somebody can help in the smelting process, Copper can add on that ring if that's what's going to solve this.
I'm worried my time draws short, and the longer this
Where
takes...
is Copper again?
I don't know. They left one night. I've not seen them since.
The last time we saw Copper, they were at the temple.
I worry that by the time that trip would take and return, I don't know how long the light will keep us here and watch over us.
Honey, there ain't no light on me.
Something's keeping you tethered here.
Yep.
You stand on the ground of the Morning Lord.
Something
The Morning Lord doesn't care for your past digressions. If they find purpose for you, they will watch over you. The Morning Light...
I will turn to Adri and tell her something is keeping us here, something that I've not felt before or known.
The light reaches all the land regardless. It's not a power for individuals to wield. It's all-encompassing.
Okay, right, let's figure this out. So it turns out we can't let them leave. We can't let them leave. We can't let them go get Copper because Copper isn't going to know. This dude is going to out of the way more than he already is. We kind of need, well, that's questionable. No offense. They're going to have to do it themselves. Fuck.
Right.
They'll manage.
We are going to go back to the group.
Okay, real quick, I'm going to go to the workshop and start banging around on shit.
Okay.
Which comes in at
what I rolled.
17.
We're going to go back to the room, okay?
Oh.
And I'm gonna kick the...
Hello.
I do.
Either
I my wrist way more than I expected it to.
Weakness.
Well, I just throw my fad. Look, you, as you're in this room, the tools on the table rattle as if they're being moved in some way, shape, or form.
So we go to Copper. Give them the
Yeah.
device to fix this.
I think so. I'm more of a smash it rather than fix it.
Can you give me
When
one
you say
reason to stay here?
When you say they move, Rob, how do they move? Are they just like shaking or?
One of
Anything-
there's a pair of like iron forceps that kind of just tumble and clatter.
Does that mean we need to have a go?
I'm a break it type of person.
It might mean hurry up. Who knows?
Exactly.
The
That's-
door to the workshop rattles and slowly kind of drifts close.
Are we still in the workshop?
You are.
The workshop is the door to the outside, or is it?
Yes.
Dot-
So you come back onto the balcony, and then the workshop is a separate. It's attached to the same building, but it's a separate in and out. It's a self-contained room.
So the door leading out of it is shut.
Yeah. So the room that you're in, the single door has kind of just drifted shut.
Okay.
So to do,
I think that
what is
means they
the
want us to
metal?
stay.
Gentle
The
steps.
metal-
Can you just make me a strength check for me, please?
Strength check.
Yes, please.
Straight over strength.
Mm-hmm.
21.
Okay. You feel your hand is nudged downwards, like you feel something knock your hand.
They're now trying to hold my hand. They, them, it.
They're trying to make you reach for the forceps. They want us to do this here.
Why would they do what? We can't do it. Elkis will smite it to smithereens.
Well, what do we need to do? We need to heat up this metal so we can bend it.
Do we?
So we need to start a contained fire.
I can start a fire and keep it going forever.
Then let's try.
But you can't smelt metal in just a fire. You need a forge fire. I mean, you two can blow on it if you want, but I don't think it'll...
Well, they were doing it here somehow. This
Why?
is a workshop. We were doing it here.
Copper is a tinkerer. This is what they do.
Does that mean he doesn't? Does that mean he doesn't need a forge?
He's got one. He's got all the tools.
But he did it
required.
here. Is there a forge here? This was made here. This was made in this workshop. There are the components to make this here. So it must be possible for this to be done here.
Or they made it there and just brought spares here to fix it. I can't see a forge. Copper's a tinkerer. We asked about Copper. Copper's name was circled. None of us can put
And then
this
we've been
together.
shut in this room. We've been shut in this room, and tools are falling off tables, and your hand's being nudged towards them.
My hand wasn't nudged towards
Maybe
the
there
tools.
Maybe there's two conflicting entities here that are trying to get us to do two separate things, and we need to decide what to do.
I would like to pick up the tools.
Okay. You have a look. Across the table there is they're functional but unkept. They're rusted, they're not particularly well looked after. Bladed implements have got nicks and rolls in them. Forceps and things kind of squeak, but there is a mixture of tinkering tools, engravement tools, smelting tools, for a full collection of metalworking across all sub-species of metalworking.
Subspecies of tools.
There's a word I was thinking it wasn't subspecies, but you get what I mean.
Subclasses of tools.
It's alive.
That's the one.
It's alive.
It's a mimic.
Ghosty, we have no idea what we're doing with these ice smite things, and this is no good for that.
Is there anything, Rob, that looks like a forge or anything that could be used? Is there like the thing that you blow air into it? Is there anything that would indicate that any smelting has been done here?
Make an investigation check for me, please.
Not had bad luck with these. This is my fourth one of the session. See how this goes. 13.
13.
Plus 2.
You don't spot a forge as such. You do spot an area that seems to have, you spot an area that looks like it's designed to have a fire there. Whether or not it's for heat or for use, you're not quite sure. It almost looks like a fireplace, like a hearth, rather than a specific blacksmith forge. There are no bellows or anything like that. That you may be able to heat metal up there, provided you jerry-rig a container for it. It's not impossible.
I'm going to put these tools down. I don't know what you want, and I'm going to walk out of the wood.
Is there a window?
They must have.
There is, yes.
Cool.
They must have done it here because the whole point
Elkis,
of
as you push open the door, there's something behind the door for a second. You push, and you see a small piece of wood get scraped and tumble off. Looks like a piece of wood fell or was against the door when it was pushed closed.
Let's assume they did it here, Vale. One was a tinker that we know. If they are working with somebody, and clearly the letter shows that the person was leading the project must have had knowledge of such things. So 2 people with knowledge of such things killed our friends with something they made that didn't work. And now we are assuming that whoever it is nudging us, maybe our friends, is trying to get us unskilled folk to fix it in a place they couldn't get it to work. What if they're actually trying to kill us? 2 down, 3 to go.
Elkis, you feel a nudge on the parchment once more, and you see that same smudged ink has now drawn a line crossing through the circle and Copper's name.
Crossed out copper.
So they can clearly hear us. Them.
Yeah, they can. If you want us to attempt this here and to put this 3rd ring on this orb, throw something across the room.
Elkis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give us some kind of sign. Knock on the door. Move a tool. Whatever you've been doing so far, because we know you can fucking do it. So, give us some kind of sign. Otherwise, we're going. Right, that's it then. I'm going to take the rings, the raw metals, take a few bits of that and just walk out.
You take the bits, I'll take the golf ball.
Okay.
Walking down steps.
I'll be the last one out, and as them 2 leave, I'll turn to where the ash was and whisper another prayer in Giant. And then I step out of the building into the snow. And we go towards the town.
Hopper, sorry, Elkis, if you said about the name being crossed out.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah, he
crossed
showed
out,
us. They showed us it.
Okay.
Yeah.
As
What?
you two, Elkis and Vale, you guys start making your way across the wooden barricade back towards ground level. As gentle steps, as you leave, part of as you kind of turn your back after muttering your prayer in Giant, just as you're leaving the room, there is a swirl as what little remains of the ash just kind of kicks up just for a second and resettles.
Goodbye to you as well. And then I walk out.
And as you make your way across the wooden barricade, down the stairs, the 3 of you make your way onto the snow. And a small piece of the wooden barricade that's fallen loose clatters into the snow next to you as you walk away.
I'm going to say, right, that's enough for me, and turn around. And start walking back up the steps, marching. Go, we're going to try this now. We're doing it here.
I give the golf ball to Vale, and I leave.
Okay.
And I'm going to head back to town.
Okay. We are going to call our break there.
Lovely. Because I need
So a bit of a different session for you all. Some lovely RP moments there. Thank you very much for joining us for the first part of, I think it's episode 17 now, of Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frostmaiden. A little bit of a tweak to the published campaign, our campaign, Secrets Worth Dying For. Yeah, join us in a interesting time as differences of opinions and interpretations of messages as kept us interested for this. Ange looks genuinely sad.
Ange just looks so pissed off.
Just crestfallen.
Ange looks like she's won a competition and had to sit and watch us numpties.
Like live studio guest.
She on paper the ticket sounded way better.
So yeah, sorry to Ange and Hannah so far. I've been a little bit quiet. I appreciate for you guys. I've had a little bit of a check-in with you. But as you can appreciate, things are still going on at the cabin. We want to see how that resolves itself before we continue. So we're going to take 15 minutes, guys. Grab your teas, coffees, brewskis, whatever else you might want. Bovrils, just ground a box of cubes with a spoon. You do you. And we'll see you back in just a few minutes, and we'll pick up the second half.
See you in a bit. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
All yours, Roberta.
Oh, no intro. We get straight back in. All right, we'll jump straight back in as we've got a little bit to go through. So, welcome back.
I'll give an intro, mate. It's all yours, Rob.
Rocks fall, James dies. Grenade goes off.
That's all right.
Don't even bother
Vale's-
rolling, you just die.
Vale's got it. I don't mind if it goes off.
Vale done it. I'll just make the explosion big enough till it reaches you. I'm fine with that. Yeah, welcome back. Episode 17 of Secrets Worth Dying For, our homebrew version of Rime of the Frostmaiden. I am Rob from the Short Rest Tavern, and we are playing a lovely campaign here at Heavyweight Gaming. We are having an interesting first half. The party find themselves in Macredus's cabin and are uncovering the secrets within and trying to piece together what happened and what their next action should be. There seems to be a little bit of a divide following the demise of Ardry and Celine last week, when a device, a seemingly magical enchantment that had been modified, detonated, killing them both. And the rest of the survivors have spent the last hour or so exploring the cabin and trying to piece together what it is they should do next. And we join the group as Gentle Steps is just headed off into town, seemingly.
Town's a little while away, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a day and a half travel.
Yeah.
Seemingly leaving Vale and Elkis as a two on the snowy embankment of the cabin. You watch as 10, 20, 30 seconds as the crunching of snow as Gentle Steps does form disappears into the distance back into the wilderness, heading back to town.
Elkis, if you want to go, I understand. Like, you don't have to stay, but I can't ignore these signs. I can't cope with this. What if we were to leave and find out that something could have been done?
But what can we do? Can we go get Copper and bring him here? He knows
Copper's
the
name
stuff.
was crossed out. We were shut in that room. Something is telling me to try this, and I'm fully aware that it's life-threatening. Like, this could be another explosion that killed them, but I want to try, and I know that I'm risking my life doing that. So I understand if you don't want to.
I just don't know how to.
We have to put the third ring. We have to use the tools that are in there to melt down this ring and attach it to the orb. That is what all the signs are pointing to.
I kind of agree, but I don't have the skill for that kind of thing.
None of us do, but I am willing to try, and I can't make that decision for you.
I suppose I'll wait out here for you. Give me a shout if I can help with anything, but otherwise I'm going to take a breather. I'm still crispy.
Cool. I'm going to hold out the bag of tricks to Elkis and just go, just for some company?
Yeah.
Don't want you out here on your own?
Yep, I'm going to pick an animal.
Okay.
Once I'm out of sight, I'll be circling back, but remaining hidden, just keeping an eye on the hut, and then in case any danger approaches it.
Okay. Make a stealth check for me. Elkis, make a 1d8 roll, please.
That would be a 6.
You pull a piece of matted fur from the bag, cast it into the snow, and there appears to be a giant badger.
Oh,
What are you?
I'd have stayed for the
That
Hi.
kind of walks up to you and kind of looks up and seems to follow the same guidance as the panther did the previous day.
I'm going to feed it a ration. Give me a shout if you need me. Otherwise, I'm just going to pray and catch your breath.
Pray for me, please. Just gonna.
I'll try.
Okay.
I'm going to try and take a short rest, DM.
Okay. Yeah, you will. Over the next hour, we will say that you are considered to have taken a short rest while this, where Vale's kind of solo adventure will take place. So, Vale, you return back to the workshop, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, just to let you know, I'm going to roll some hit dice.
That's fine.
Yep.
As you enter, one of the tools falls from the table and clatters to the floor.
I'm gonna lay out cause I picked up some of the bits of metal, so I'm gonna lay out the metal and look at the, kind of look at the orb and look at the shapes of the metal and try and find one that would be the best sort of size to melt down to a circle shape.
So, am I right in assuming that you're going to attempt to... The end goal of this venture is to try and craft a third ring to attach to this device? Okay.
Yeah.
For the sake of the information you've gathered as a group so far, I will say, for the sake of this, you've looked at the blueprints and items, that gentle steps. You kind of collaborated on that. That you're pretty confident what the final design should look like. You're not sure if you have the capability to do it, but you are welcome to try.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Okay.
So I'm assuming I need to light a fire in
Yeah.
this in the fireplace in the forge. Cheers, General Steps,
I'm
for doing that before you left.
I'm just popping bonfires off all over the place.
So,
yeah, tinderbox, light fire.
survival check.
Weirdly, I'm quite good at that.
Fucking rages.
16, 12 plus 4.
Yeah, so over the next 5-10 minutes or so, you pull together some scraps, you break down one of the shelves, split it, you get some kindling into the hearth, and you do light a fire, which starts to take hold. As you notice, the ink that previously had marked the parchment Elkis was carrying now seemingly has marked the runes across the device. You do have a fire. The fire casts heat into the room, which is welcomed by yourself, and you kind of enjoy the fact it's warm for a second there.
Is anything happening to the runes?
Not. They just seem to have been marked with ink.
Okay. I wasn't in the room when the runes were... Okay. I'm just going to get one of the pieces. Are the runes on the metal rings?
Engraved onto the outsides of the metal rings, yes.
There's engraver's tools in this cabin, isn't there? Okay.
For the sake of interest, I will say in this room, should you wish to try and replicate, despite not being particularly proficient with them, you identify you've got the tools. You could attempt to do what you're trying to do.
Okay. So before melting down this ring, I'm gonna try and engrave the runes onto the new piece of metal.
So there is no new piece of metal to engrave. There is no complete third ring. To kind of, you would have to create a ring. You'd have to forge a ring to then engrave the runes onto. As you in this room, one of the engraver tools, as you're about to grab it, you hear 3 knocks on the table by the tool. Just gentle.
So I need next to the engraver's tool.
Yes, on the bench by the engraver's tool.
But you've just said to do it the right way around. I'd need to make the ring first.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna pick up I'm assuming a metal strip.
Yeah, so what you need to do is you find a small container that you think will be able to handle the heat. You scoop all of the bits of scrap you find, a few pieces of these rings, a few pieces of scrap, and you, with some forceps, you kind of push that bucket into the fire and start pushing some more. You spend a few minutes splitting some other shelves. You pull one of the pieces of the cabinet down and you stack it around, and you wait for a few minutes, and as the bottom of this container starts to glow from the embers, over the next 15-20 minutes or so, the metal in there seems to have begun to melt down and coagulate, and you'd be able to pour that out, and then you'd have to make an attempt with blacksmithing tools to try and forge that into a circular shape of the right size.
What would you like me to roll to do that?
I would like you to roll a dexterity check.
Okay.
Without proficiency, because you are not a proficient blacksmith. So this
Straight dex check.
Straight dex. This is to see how well you take the heat forged piece of metal and how you're shaping it now into the right size and shape.
19, 15 plus 4.
Say again, sorry.
19, 15 plus 4.
As you're hammering away, you find you pull together a crude kind of form to pour it into, and you cast a ring shape. You wait for it to harden. You then tap it and you start shaping. You knock off some of the scale, and over the course of the next 15-20 minutes, until your arm is tired, your wrist aches, Elkish, you can just hear ting, 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 ting as hammer strikes metal up in the distance. As this is happening, Vale, you do feel almost like something brush across your face. You don't see anything, you don't hear anything, but you feel physical contact against your face. And it's not pretty. You can see hammer marks, you can see dents in it, but you have a crude metal band that is approximately the right shape that you would need. It's got its imperfections, but you're a little bit impressed with your own hand. Considering the tools and the environment that you're in, I'd be pretty pleased with it.
Sheer stubbornness is fueling this. Engraving time, I guess.
Okay. And what are you going to try and engrave? And by I know you're going to try and engrave the metal.
Veil.
What are you going to?
The runes that were marked with the ink.
Okay. I need you to make for me, please, an Arcana check. Is Arcana intelligence, if I'm right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, please make an Arcana check for me.
12.
Okay. You look across the device, and you see that there is a pattern of sorts. You see the same handful of runes appear multiple times. You're not quite sure if they spell anything, you're not quite sure what they mean, but you do spot a pattern. And from a 12, you're pretty convinced you know that it's the same 4 symbols that are used. You're not quite sure the order, but you at least know which 4 shapes you're trying to engrave.
Yeah. So I'll try and do those 4 shapes. On the actual device, are they just repeated until like filling up the whole space of the circle?
Make me an investigation check. And as you look at this, the entire ring on the outside, that ink smear, goes all the way around.
14 investigation. 12.
There is a repeating pattern. It doesn't quite line up. You know, you look at it and you can see there's an element of a repeating pattern with these same 4 symbols, and you think you've got a pretty good grasp. You're not certain you've cracked it, but you think you think you're about there.
I'll get to work engraving that pattern then.
Make me a dexterity check, please, with the engraving kit.
22.
Holy shit.
18 plus 4. I know. Keeping this dice.
Okay, so the first couple take a little bit of time. You start hand tapping these runes into this outer band, copying the rune one for one off of the device. There's a few times in the pattern you're not quite sure what comes next. You just kind of make a bit of a guess, bit of an educated guess, and then when you get to the other end of it, they do line up. They fit well, and they look. The engraving looks very well done compared to the little bit okay-ish blacksmithing. The engraving looks good. The runes look clear. You're confident that they're not going to be misinterpreted and that they are as accurate as they can be to the source that you've copied.
So now I assume it's fixing the ring into the device.
That's right.
Putting it together. Okay.
And that would be one
Deep breaths.
final. That would be a intelligence check, straight intelligence check, as you work out the angle and get the balance position right as you're trying to balance this as the third point of
13.
Okay. Okay. You hammer away. You drill a very small pilot hole through the outer rings, the inner rings, and you get some of this metal rod and you very gently, you line them up. You kind of think you've got the balance right, and then with a final tap, the bar slots into place. You hold it, and it doesn't spin as perfectly balanced as the 2 do, and it kind of dead weights at the bottom a little bit, but there's an element of gyroscopic force there. It's close, it's not exact, but it is close. You now have this small piece of gold veins, this gold material veined through black, suspended within 3 rings of rune inscribed metal. The inner 2 looking a little bit nicer than the outer one, but the device seemingly has a 3rd ring now attached to it.
Nothing else happens?
You would have to make a conscious effort to try and re-trigger the device, should you want to.
Yeah.
Okay. For the sake of this, the production of you making this device, what I've done is I've made a note how much information you've recovered about the device, what your roles have been about understanding it, and your overall craft roles. What that has done is influenced the DC check of being able to use the device. So depending on how well you've made it, makes it easier or harder depending. So what I'm going to ask for is a final Arcana check to activate the modified Summer Star and try and cast its contained power and activate the device. Just 1 second.
I have a +0 to this, so this is all of the dice.
Let me.
So it's all right, Vale. We've got
assist
backup
with my
characters.
prayers?
If
My
we,
heart is
Can I
beating so
assist
hard.
with my
I feel
outside
like I'm
prayers
Yeah.
to Celine?
if we wipe out 10 towns, we'll just go
Like my
adventure
last
somewhere
panic
else. Yeah. If everyone in 10 towns is dead, there's no one going hungry anymore.
I wanted to write the DC down on a piece of paper first, so it's in the hands of the Morning Lord now.
And here we are, viewers.
Do my prayers outside assist?
To the wrong deity, to the polar opposite deity.
Your deity is
Can I roll this with
laughing.
advantage, Rob?
No, seriously. Okay, so you hear the tinkering and you hear the tapping and you hear the metal dinging stop. Is there anything you're doing during your short rest?
Rolling it, nice.
Gentle steps. From your vantage point, you see Elkis kind of take a rest with this suddenly appeared greyish furred badger.
I only care if there's encroaching not Vale or Elkis anywhere around that hut. That is my only concentration throughout this time.
Okay.
I've rolled my hit dice and I've said a prayer to get one of my spell slots back.
Okay.
And I've prayed for Vale.
Just as the no, okay, never mind. Okay, we're good. Can you make me that Arcana check, please, Vale?
There's a +0, so this is in the dice.
Straight roll.
Oh dear.
17.
Okay.
17. 17.
So, on a 17, the device begins to, you feel this soft vibration in your hand as you channel whatever energy is within it and you feel it align with your, an essence of your being. As the device attunes to you, it begins to vibrate. The outer runes begin to glow. This almost luminescent goldish yellow color on the second, first, and the third ring. The device begins to warm in your hand. It begins to heat up. It's not uncomfortable, but it noticeably gets warmer, and you see those central veins within the rock begin to brighten, and they get brighter, and they get brighter until you can't, it's just a glow of energy in your hand. Do you continue to hold the device and see the effects through to the end?
Yes.
The brightness gets more intense, the heat gets more intense to the point where you can't look anymore, and it's just this endless bright light. Gentle steps, you and Elkis see this impossible bright light beginning to emanate from the door and the window of the cabin.
I sprint as fast as I can at the building.
Okay.
Just so you know, as a DM, so you don't have to ask in narrative, gentle steps is going to enter the this is if it gets this far, enter the building, rugby tackle Vale, assuming same thing is going to happen as it did last time, and depending on where Vale is, I'll try and protect. That is what Gentle's assumption is.
Sure.
And then you
can you make me,
interpret it
because
how
you're
you
running
wish.
into impossibly bright light and this heat bloom that's coming away, can you make me just a Constitution check just to see how much you can
What, as the
endure?
Goliath? Yeah, damn right I can. 20, non-natural, mate. 17 plus 3.
Okay.
Save or check? It's same.
Save.
It's same, makes sense.
So, you break into this run. Elkis, you spot the form of your Goliath friend suddenly just tear out of a nearby kind of divot, like a hollow in the ground, just start tearing across the snow towards this light. And you can feel, even from where you are, Elkis, the brightness is almost painful, and that heat is starting to hit you. Gentle steps, you just ignore it. You just running blind almost, fumbling on the balcony. You can't see anything, it's just this impossible bright light, and you can feel where the heat previously burned you, it kind of stings against the skin. And then there is just an almighty bright light as Elkis, you see a cylindrical beam of white hot light cascade through the roof of the cabin and into the clouds above. And that heat begins to bloom, and you see this golden halo effect pulse out across the clouds.
I'm going to follow Gentle Steps.
And the light begins to subside, Elkis, as you make your way up the stairs. And you get up the stairs, you push the door open, and you find Gentle Steps huddled over a crouch down Veil, both very much alive and unhurt.
Are you okay?
I'll take my large form off the snow leopard.
Did I have any, like, did I hold on to it when I was rugby tackled? I would have let go.
It's in your hands, and it's
Okay.
warm. You look down at the device, and you can see cracks across the outer ring, and the central black stone seems to have crumbled into pieces, and you're holding just this empty 3-tiered metal cage.
You're alive. What did it do?
3 is better than 2.
I'm gonna look up at the sky outside. I'm in the doorway.
Make an investigation check.
Oh well, I can roll now.
Now's the good rolls.
That's 17.
17. You look, and like your eyes are almost burning. You get little pinpricks of yellow light everywhere as you're trying to blink it away. And you look, and you can see, almost as far as you can see, the grey cloud cover has this yellowish golden hue to it.
Is it? Oh. You did something. It's gold out here.
It's gold. I'm just going to still be in a ball, like, shaking.
I'll help Vale to her feet.
Can I ask the three of you once more to silence yourselves? We're good, we're good, we're good. Cool. Audrey, Celine, you have watched this from the shadows, from an environment that you don't quite know, from this spiritual form that you've inhabited for the last hour or so. And you see Gentle Steps dive into unfathomable danger and risk to shield Vale, who seemingly detonated the device without any understanding of its capabilities or what may have happened. And Elkis running in afterwards. Can you stop sending pictures on Facebook, please? And then that bright light, just, you see kind of the essence of the light without it being blinding. You don't feel the heat, you don't feel it, but you see the energy cascade into the sky. And when you look up, you look around for a second, and there's this soft golden glow about the building that you're in, around the floor, on the walls, and the space around. And you see the essence of Macredus. That seems faded. You see areas around the legs and around the extremes of the arms starting to almost mist. And they drop to their knees and kind of look up. And as you follow their gaze, there is a very, very, very faint silhouette of an impossibly large humanoid silhouetted against the clouds.
Plot twist, it's Gentle Steps. He was a god all
And
along.
There is a knowingness and acceptance, and there's no communication, there's no language, there's no spoken word, but you have a feeling of thanks. And you turn, and Macredus looks up to you two, and you see the pendant of the Morning Lord around his neck give out that same similar golden hue as the rest of his form vanishes. And then you two look across from each other. as both of your visions fade to darkness. And we're going to go back to the room.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Loving the Facebook.
3. You kind of take a deep breath of the festivities and the seemingly selfless act of Vale, and then gentle steps as inner almost instinct to protect and run, and Elkis yours shortly after. And you hear in the central room the sound of something metallic clatter to the floor.
I'm going to run in there.
Okay. You find on the floor 3 things. On a small, thin metal chain, you find a polished gold holy symbol of Lythander, emanating this soft golden glow, which then fades until the necklace is just, it appears to be made of polished precious metal. Beyond that lay the unconscious forms of Audrey and Celine.
Are they naked?
They're not naked.
We've got their armor.
You've got the breastplate and the sword. They're not naked.
It's the Hulk effect, isn't it? You know what I mean?
I'm going to run in as soon as Elkis shouts.
And you see this golden trinket on the floor and the prone, unconscious bodies of Celine and Audrey.
I'm going to go to them and I'm going to give them both some healing, whether they need it or not, I have no idea. But I'm going to put in 2 HP each with my lay on hands.
Okay. You feel that energy go into them. You feel that there isn't any healing to be done. You are confident that given time, they will come round. They appear to be stable and uninjured.
They're here. I'm going to do Divine Sense.
Okay.
Protect undead.
There is no undead.
It's them. It's
What?
It's
What you do notice, Elkis, is that essence of sanctified and hallowed ground is no longer.
Oh. Well, that's what it can do.
Vale's going to walk into the room after hearing Elkis shout, and just as soon as she sees them unconscious, she's just going to like slump against a wall and just sit down and put her head in her hands.
I'll go outside and make sure nothing's coming towards a hut that just set up a solar flare to the entirety of the northern frontier.
Hey guys, we're over here! The biggest flare gun you've ever found in your life. Make a perception check for me.
6. What sort of flare?
Your vision, you got the same from Elkis eyes. You can see the little yellow pinpricks. You basically ran into a solar flare, effectively. Like you.
That's why I've gone outside. I don't want them to see that I'm blind.
Yeah, you can see, but it's not brilliant. You think with a bit of time it'll fade, but for now your eyes, you're not proficient with your eyes.
I've got his proficient eyes on.
The term is weakness.
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 Ow.
Just how shitty was the bed?
A solid 3 out of 10.
Elkis, they're not naked. Let it go. All right.
Think like 15 quid a night, Ring Road sort of
Guys.
hotel.
Yeah.
Can we just sit down? Like, can we just like?
Yeah. I'm gonna take my cloak off and bundle it into a pillow and put it under one of their heads and do my best to make them comfortable and just gently shake them, see if they wake up.
They don't wake up, but you can make them comfortable. They're breathing.
Forever.
Should we?
I'll do the same with my cloak to the other person. So they're both.
I love how you waited. You were like, "Ah, go on then."
I would say
Haven't I done enough?
the mid-afternoon twilight begins to descend on the cabin. And
Rob, can I just say something real quick? Just for the viewers who are confused, if you popped in sometime in between, we were dead like Ash, deceased, gone into the other, and now we're back. Myself and
And
Andrew.
that's why they're crying.
they look emotional. You get the feeling it's probably late afternoon, and that it's not going to be too long before the extended night period falls, and you've maybe got a few hours before true night starts.
No anymore.
Need a nap.
The room we're in is the one that's pretty much open to elements, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a hole in the floor. The roof's currently partially missing. The house is in a shit state.
Which room is the best?
The first room you went into looked like it was shielded from the elements, is how it was.
The bedroom's
Yeah,
not bad. Yeah, the bedroom with the
is
boarded
not
up
bad.
windows and the
And a fire.
seems to be the best. It's got a fireplace.
fireplace,
It's not
yeah.
lit, but yeah, it's the best out of a bad set of decisions.
Vale, shall we take
we
them
put
into
them
the
both on the-
bedroom?
Yeah, should we put them both on the bed?
Drag them by
I
the
mean, she gets
feet.
double bed. Yeah.
I'll cover the bed as best I can with my cloak because it's shit, and I'll carry them through to the room. I am very tiny, but I'm strong.
I'm not
I'll
strong,
say-
but I'll try my best.
You're also
I'll say
3 foot high.
without between the three of you, you do manage to move everyone into the central room. There is just the golden necklace that lays on the floor.
I'm going to take that.
Tony, can I request you do some art where you're in the middle of, say, Celine, or Audrey, pick one, where you've shoulder pressed them into the air, but their feet are still on the floor and their head is still on the floor. But it's like,
Just like, got it.
absolute powerhouse 3 foot
He's
tall.
carrying them, but their head just bouncing on
Just right,
everything.
Okay,
I'm
we've
sorry.
been through words,
And
it's fine.
Batman was saying, reached over the knee.
I'm sorry, that's 1 HP, 2 HP, 2 HP.
That's a death saving throws from your names, guys. You've been changing your names on Zoom the whole week. Got Audrey 2.0.
Red Lords.
Red Lord Celine.
They both wake up as death knights.
Veil brackets alive.
The attention dead goes off the rails now. Before too long, you get them comfortable. They both fit in this decrepit bed, but it's as comfortable as you can make them under the circumstances. And I'm going to assume Gentle Steps probably lights a fire. If not, it's pretty cold. It's sheltered from the wind, but it's in the environment you're in. This is probably the comfiest you're going to get.
I'm going to take the gold necklace and sit and have a look at that as well. And
Seems to be a holy symbol of Lythander.
I'm going to... I think you should have this, Phil.
I don't know what did it do?
It dropped with them when they came back. It was warm, I think.
It's got a slight heat to it. It's nothing uncomfortable. Like it's almost like a 10-minute-old cup of tea sort of warmth to it.
It's still warm, but
It's tepid.
Yeah, it's
it's
tepid.
tepid.
It's tepid. It's a tepid holy symbol.
Yeah, it's tepid, but I don't think Seluna would really like me wearing other people's, and I think you deserve it.
I'm just gonna take it, and I'm not very religious, but I suppose I'll keep hold of it and see if it does anything. Maybe if I spend some time with it, might be able to see what it does.
Boom!
Yeah, bang.
Starts getting warm in your hands. Can you all make dex saves for me, please? I need to borrow some d6s.
Is there a fireplace in this room?
There is a fireplace in this room, yes.
Why
Can I
did you
go and
say
get
it's
some of my...
so long? You were like, why is there a
What?
fireplace? There's a really long gap in between the words.
I am very emotional, Eddie.
It's been a rough 2 hours.
And I'm a bastard, so we're meeting in the middle.
Do you know how much Vale has done in the last 2 hours of being in this location?
Nope.
Is that a King
I'm
of the
gonna go
North
to
shirt? Just out of interest.
No.
Sorry, continue.
Can I go to the room where I lit the forge and just sort of bring some fire in, if that makes sense? Light
Of
a
all
bit
the
of
things
wood.
that kill you, this is how we go. You burn the house down.
And Now you're all
say
here.
It was exhausting.
Fail
I'm gonna
gentle
do
step.
it whilst eyeballing gentle steps.
I,
like,
yeah,
I'm outside.
you managed to transfer the embers into the new place, and you managed to get some of the wood furniture bundled in there, and it does catch, and you eventually get a serviceable fire going in that room.
Did you say outside still gentle steps?
Yeah, I'm doing a perimeter check. I'm basically looking at my own feet, apparently, but
I'm gonna come.
I'm following my own tracks.
I'm gonna come out to you and see if I can catch up with you on your perimeter check.
I know they're here. I fucking know they're here.
I'm gonna sit down and look at this necklace, Rob.
Okay.
Oh, do okay.
Hopefully for about an hour.
I'm gonna join gentle steps on his perimeter check and have a look around.
Over the next hour, Vale, you kind of have this item in your hand, and the temperature never subsides. There's this soft, comforting warmth within this golden metal on its thin, delicate chain that appears to be a 5 or 6 pronged style. It was like a tribal carved sun. The craftsmanship is impeccable. There doesn't be any joins. The metal is completely unembellished. It's this, and you're not sure where its origin is, where it comes from, what it does, but it appears to be some sort of connection to the Morning Lord. It's an item of significant religious power.
I'll just put it in my pocket.
Gentle steps.
Yes.
So Vale obviously managed to bring our friends back, but do you know who didn't come back? That McCready fella. Do you think he's still there?
Maybe.
Do you think there's less of Celine and Adri now because you brushed some of them down the hole?
Hopefully.
I'm just gonna quietly walk aside and a bit behind gentle steps, following him on his rounds.
I'm pointing out the massive footprints. They're big. Keep an eye out.
So you two, over the course of the next hour or so, as kind of that evening drifts into early night, can you two make me perception checks while you're doing your little chat and your perimeter check?
It's better than 6. It's 10.
Strong 10.
Is it double figures, mate? Double figures.
I'm looking at the really dangerous big footsteps in front of me. I got an 8.
You for a second, you're terrified of the giant, and then you realise it's just gentle steps, and he's just there. You're like, well, we'll wait for you. We're good.
But like, it's
But
like,
you come back. You do a full lap, and you see your own footprint. So someone's following us, and it takes a few seconds for you to realise.
okay, the big one's got a smaller one with them. There's now 2 of them. Keep an eye.
Yeah, we don't seem to be catching up though.
They're fast. People are fast.
And by perimeter, you get the semicircle around the house, and you have to cut under the house because otherwise you're off a 120-foot drop into a ravine.
It's fine. We'll save one.
It's like a semicircle. It's like they double back on yourself, but you keep an eye on the perimeter.
Let them fall.
Okay. The next couple of hours kind of pass with you guys doing your perimeter checks, and Vale, you've kind of got this sense of comfort from this artifact you possess. And the fatigue of the day starts to creep in. You're all exhausted, and it is getting to that point where you would need to rest should you wish to rest.
I am just going to sleep where I sit in that bedroom.
Okay. Gentle steps and L kiss. I'm guessing, do you return to the cabin?
No.
Okay.
Eventually,
I will find my quarry.
and they walk faster and faster.
1 point of
years
exhaustion.
later, he dies of exhaustion.
I'm going to start sprinting. I'm going to catch this thing. Eventually, I'll go back inside.
You find Vale asleep, like up against the wall with this chain wrapped around her hand.
Do I have any spare warm stuff?
Don't know.
Put
Do
warm
you?
stuff on everybody.
You tell me. Do you?
I have a bedroll. And a blanket. So yes, I've got a couple of things. I'm going to throw my blanket over Vale.
Okay.
And freeze to death next to her.
Yeah, I'm gonna stand in the doorway till Gentle Steps coming back.
Do you come back eventually, Gentle Steps?
No.
Are you staying out there all night?
I'll stay out there all night.
Okay.
Because I can.
So we're going to be looking at those who are going to be sleeping through the night, which will be Celine and Audrey 2.0. Before they reanimate as zombies and kill Vale in the sleep.
Honestly.
Red Lord, sorry.
At this point,
yeah, Vale,
right.
you three would sleep through the night. Elkis, you planning on resting?
I'll stay up for a watch first, and then I will
Make a
go
perception
sleep
check.
when Gentle Steps is not coming back.
Okay, make a perception check for me, please.
9.
Okay. You kind of you see Gentle Steps still making those patrols long into the night. Before too long, you do find sleep, or sleep finds you, and you pass out.
Mm-hmm.
Gentle Steps. It is a long, cold night, but you persevere and you push through and you keep watch throughout. You do take a point of exhaustion for your troubles, but you keep an eye out, and seemingly nothing approaches the cabin during the night, and you are left undisturbed. The following day,
There are 4 dead bodies.
You want to press those buttons?
localized around the cabin, it takes you. It's weird, Gentle Steps. As you're walking, you notice long before previously the first hints of daylight that you felt in months. It's not heavy, there's not warmth, there's no glorious sun in the sky, but you can see small patches of the brighter skies, less grey, just starting to creep through the clouds, localized around the cabin. And this is normally you'd expect it to have stayed dark for a few more hours until the mid-morning before it kind of recedes, but you see it's receded a little bit earlier. The 4 of you do all wake up after having a long rest.
Yeah.
And Celine and Audrey do awaken, and you find yourselves wrapped up in blankets and bedrolls on the shittiest bed of your life, with Elkis and Vale kind of asleep up on the propped up on the floor in various places.
She just kind of look around. She look for Audrey and sort of see her there, like, hi. Look at her hands and everything.
You are you. You don't have a sword or a breastplate, but you are you.
Naked.
Don't leave me hanging, Celine.
Huh?
She just put the hand down. She's like, oh, forget it.
What?
Celine and Audrey,
Just-
you notice that you don't see Gentle Steps.
I'm having the
That
breastplate.
one anyway.
I'll look around and I'll. Who's closest to me?
Audrey's on the bed with you, and Vale's kind of on the floor next to you.
I'll just turn down and just. I'm guessing I'm a little exhausted, probably, because you know.
You are
Gosh.
seemingly,
Dead, not dead.
or you don't have. You're tired, and you feel
I mean, I
you've had
should feel refreshed, right? New body.
You feel you've had a day, but you don't have any mechanical exhaustion or anything like that. You don't have any
Like,
negative
renewed.
character traits.
Do I have my scars though?
You were when
Oh.
You
Cool.
turn to ash.
evaporated.
Good stuff. I'll look down at Vale and I'll just kind of like, I'll flick her on the ear, like gently, just to wake her up.
Growls in her sleep.
Where the
Turn around,
fuck?
stab.
That's my sword.
I'll
Balls
Wolverine
come
style
out
in the
and
night. Just
I'll just go like this to her head, like hair, real quick. What does she have on today from her spells?
Oh god, I don't know. Let's ask me again in a minute. Carry on.
Flowers? Is it horns?
Let's see.
Well, if it's flowers,
yeah,
something
she's-
like she'll just.
She stirs. As you. Massage
You
As I fuzz her head.
you Vale. You feel amazing. You wake up, you kind of, it's catching up with you. The day before, like you expect to have felt absolutely renowned, you feel fantastic. While you have possession of the amulet, your constitution score is considered 19.
Nice.
Nice.
And I give it away. I give it away.
You don't know anything.
Look down at her like, hey. We back?
Hello. Yeah. How do you feel? You wouldn't wake
Good.
up yesterday, so.
I feel surprisingly well. If we are back, right? I should just look around, just still kind of like not believing it because we kind of like got the gist of what happened. Just go
I don't know.
back, right?
It feels like hell. Like, we are in a shithole.
Yeah, but better
As
this
I wake
shithole
up,
than.
do I notice that Gentle Steps isn't in the room when I wake
Yes.
up?
Yeah, the four of you.
I'm breathing
realise
in, I'm
that
just
Jennifer
stood in a
is
corner.
I'm gonna
watching the
stand
four
up.
of you sleep all night.
I'm gonna stand up and go outside to look for him.
I'm just resting against
You
the
see, you see him outside you.
wall with a bonfire going. Pew, 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 pew.
You, as you kind of all come round and kind of all get together, you all feel either from the outside or through gaps in the roof, the chill that hung over the cabins isn't as deep as it once was. You feel there's definitely something about this place. And once more, with the exception of Ardry, the five of you feel something comforting and warm try and reach out to you.
Yeah.
And it's down to each of you individually if you push that away and block that out, or you let that in.
I push it away.
I let it in, but reality hits me and I stop and I turn slowly towards Gentle Steps.
Have you come outside?
No,
Mhm.
you don't
Oh
see.
no, I thought we were all outside now.
No.
No.
Gentle Steps
Okay.
and
Never mind.
Vale.
Vale. Do you accept it or push it away?
I accept it.
Elkis,
Can't
you're
hear you,
muted
dude.
or
Can't
really
hear you,
quiet. We can't hear you.
Can I examine the feeling?
Nope.
Cautiously accept it.
Okay. The three of you receive the blessing of the Morning Lord, which every day at dawn you will gain 10 temporary hit points. So make a note that you are all three of you are blessed by the Morning Lord.
That's
Who was the
wrong.
third?
Still
It was
needed
me,
points.
Elkis, and
You, Elkis, and Celine.
Celine pushed it away.
Celine
No,
was-
I took it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, you
Yeah.
took it. Sorry.
I was taking it, then I like when reality hit, it was like I wanted to find him first.
Ardry already has a deity blessing.
Yeah. Blessing.
Gentle
Immune to
Steps
cold, aren't you?
only needs Sebastian.
Shit. My picture's great.
You've had that for ages.
I was pretty sure that if I died, then it was gonna be like, oh well, you fucked up. So
you're not quite sure what happened to you.
well, that's not ominous at all.
I'm just gonna sit down next to Gentle Steps. I won't say anything, but I'm just gonna sit down.
I'll keep staring at the flames of my bonfire. that I
There's
created.
20 of them all over the fucking place.
If you fly over it, it actually spells out "fuck this shit."
DM's a prick.
Fuck this place in particular.
It's fine.
Oh.
I did it on purpose.
Oh.
Don't worry about it.
Only remember that I left the badger outside and screamed "Badger!" and ran outside and down the steps.
There is no badger.
Just out of me.
Badger will have
Where's he gone?
evaporated at midnight. There is
Where?
no-
Does he go? What? Oh, I got Barry.
Barry the Badger.
So,
Ooh.
you
She'll
two
say,
sort of
just gonna look at him.
sit and kind of enjoy this pseudo sunrise in essence, even if it is behind heavy black clouds, and you wonder what effect this may have, how far this may go, to what extent this will have on the areas around you. You're not quite sure where things currently sit in that regard. Celine, Ardry, and Elkis, you remain inside, and you kind of feel that presence kind of wash over you, and just that first hint of warmth just kind of washes over your essence, and you get that blessing effect. What is the plan? Would anyone like to do anything?
Well, I need to go and beat up a gnome, so.
Then
Lock and load.
whatever gets your rocks off, you know what I mean?
One man, one gnome.
I'm gonna go find Vale.
She sat out on the balcony with gentle steps.
Fantastic. I go out onto the balcony. I completely ignore gentle steps. Shout to Vale and I go, thank you for listening. And I just put my hand on her cheek.
Was that you then making those hints?
No idea what you mean.
I'm just going to keep staring into the fire. Haunted.
I'll get up. Just look for my stuff first, real quick, just to see if it's around. Where's my sword?
It's in the fire.
Who has it? One of you picks it up.
I picked it up.
Okay. You don't see it.
Is she here?
Are you concealing it, or are you just carrying
No,
it?
no. It's just on. It's not sheathed on my hip.
It's
just attached to carry.
Yeah. You see it slung over Gentle Steps' pack as he sits out on the balcony.
I'm just gonna walk up to him and just stand over him on his right hand side and just look down at him. I'm going to thwack him on the head, exactly where I thwacked him
The last time.
You feel a similar...
Exactly the same fucking thwack, but in the actual way I meant to.
I stand up, give her sword, and say the dead should remain dead, and then I walk back into the building.
I'll just go back to him. Too bad. Not all wishes come true.
It's not a wish.
And I'll look down at Vale and tell her, put a hand on her shoulder and say thank you.
Just from my perspective, this is out of character. Where is the other bits and pieces? I understand, Vale, you have the bag and the scroll.
I was about to turn to Ardry and say, you drop this, and just flicker the bag of tricks up.
Which is great, because I was just going to mention that. Thank you.
Where's the breastplate and the frozen troll finger?
I'm assuming just resting against somewhere inside.
Vale took them.
Yeah, I think Vale moved it, but like...
Are they all out?
I've not taken them.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't have touched the troll finger. Sure. I moved the breastplate.
Just thinking, for the sake of ease, are we fair to assume that Celine re-equip yourselves with your previous stuff?
I'm keeping the scroll case with the scroll inside. I'm not mentioning having that.
Okay, you keep the scroll case. That's fine.
That's fine, because that is what I'm going to mention. Because my next words were going to be, has anyone got my stuff? And as I get given the bag of tricks and the spell bag. It was the spell bag, wasn't it?
There is no spell bag.
Oh,
Spell
shit.
bag was disappeared.
What was the other thing that I had then? It was a spell bag, the scroll.
There's a spell bag, the scroll case, and the bag of tricks.
Oh, okay. You got the scroll at all? I was gonna just try and figure out what it was.
Yeah, I've got the scroll. We can sort it out when we get back into town.
Okay. Why?
Because you've just come back to life and I don't entirely trust you yet. Jesus.
What was in the scroll again?
You
haven't opened it.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that I was bringing you back to life. I was following instructions by fuck knows who, and I'm not sure who far yet. So let's just go with that, not argue about it, and accept.
Audrey, as this conversation is happening, you feel somewhere out in the wilderness, close by, you feel a very similar connection as you did a few nights previously to a unseen force. Rather than it being inquisitive, this doesn't feel the same as when you've had connections to your patron. This feels similar, but you just feel white hot anger and fury centered on an entity close by.
Right.
And it kind of, you hear that the last few words, that veil, you don't fully, it's just like this sudden wave washes over you of this something angry.
This thing is really angry. Right. Right. Forget everything. We need to go like now. Like now. There is something not right. I can sense it. It's real fucking angry. We need to leave. And like you can see like the visible panic and like
I'm
scared on my face.
What's it called? Primeval awareness.
Okay. What's that do?
Any aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fae, fiends, or undead, are they present within 1 mile of me?
Yes.
Do I get a flavor?
Does the spell give you a flavor?
Doesn't reveal the creature's location or number. Doesn't say anything about flavor.
There is a strong connection of separate elements of undeath and elemental magics.
I'm just going to call out to Gentle Steps and say, there's undead near here.
I know.
Hearing that, I'm going to pull my hammer out and I'm going to run down the steps and face out to the snow in just whatever directions away from the hat looking.
Make perception checks, everyone.
Fuck.
21.
7.
My first decent perception.
You've had a rough roll tonight, haven't you?
15.
15.
9.
Yeah.
9. Audrey.
14.
14. Elkis.
Do I get advantage because it's undead and I'm a
No.
paladin?
That's not how.
It's fine.
Unless you're a blood hunter.
I mean,
No.
fair play,
What'd you
lad,
roll?
fair play.
What'd you roll, Elkis?
7.
7. Anyone higher than a 15, you initially spot in the distance, maybe several hundred feet out, a blue-white light, impossibly bright in the distance. A few of you have seen something similar before. This time, however, it slowly gets brighter as the light moves towards you. And you see, silhouetted against this morning, the outline of this silhouette humanoid moving towards you with just this impossible bright light emanating from a hood. It's like a hooded cloak, and it's just this almost like beacon of just this bluish light that just is almost like you have to kind of avert your eyes and look out the corner of your eyes. And
I take Sebastian off my back.
You just feel this dread. There is just this frigid fury and just this anger at the meaningless of life and just this utter contempt emanating from this creature as it drifts towards you.
15 and up of my 15, can I sense that?
Eventually, you can't not see it. This brightness is just almost all-encompassing, and it's just like it's like someone's got a full beam torch and it's just blasting out of this creature's hood forward.
I'm going to take a step or two back and just tell the groups, like, silently and quickly, we need to go. We need to go now.
I'm down on the snow, facing it.
No fucking shit. That's right.
And
that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
We've got
These
8 minutes.
cliffhangers, man.
We've got 8 minutes.
And we will pick up there on the first morning we've had since the campaign begins on the snowy banks of the cabin, with a few questions, suspicions, hanging over the party.
Us old schoolers call that roleplay, Rob. So, as the beautiful Rob has said, that's the end of tonight's session. So thank you for those
very much.
Yep, you want to do your little bit?
Yeah, so thank you very much, everyone. Really appreciate it. Really, really good session tonight. Thank you, players, and especially lovely Audrey and Celine, who had to play some things close to their chest. I'm going to invite the rest of you to a group chat we've had, because that is some interesting reading, and it's definitely worth the
That's if it's still there.
Oh, I could invite people into it. There's just the sheer
cool.
that's worth saving for posterity's sake. But no, yeah, thank you very much, guys, for your patience in muting yourselves. I know it's not the easiest thing to do split party stuff while we are on Zoom, but we persevered. Thank you very much, viewers, guests, everyone who's tuned in tonight to check out what we're up to. We stream as the Short Rest Tavern on our own channel over on Monday nights. We're currently battering our way through Candlekeep and all the one-shots within. So if you're interested in seeing my other DM game, you can tune in with most everyone except our lovely Gentle Steps here, who is replaced by the lovely Lauren. And we are continuing through Candlekeep. Tune in and you can win yourself a digital copy of Candlekeep Mysteries as our giveaways continue. A few bits and pieces we have going on. Me and the lovely Gentle Steps down here. Last Sunday of the month, we are going to be doing our first monthly chat, online chat over at the Short Rest Tavern, our show Beards and Brews, where we are going to get a cuppa and discuss all things this time about DMing. This is going to be a bit of a focus on our experience DMing on Twitch and that transition from in-house games to online, how we found it, things we've changed, taking questions from the community and just bouncing things off each other as we normally do, around just the community side of it, of what it's like DMing in front of an audience, for example, and things that we take into account or don't take into account maybe. So that'll be really interesting. I'm sure we've got a few cool talking points to bounce off. Other than that, guys, we've got all the information below on Heavyweight Gaming, all their channel, all their different games, Carbon, their Path of Stone campaign on Tuesdays, I think it is.
Fables Among Titans, you were close.
That's the one, sorry. Fables Among Titans on Tuesdays, and all the details. Keep an eye out on the channels as we approach our charity one-shot, where the Short Rest Tavern and Heavyweight Gaming join forces for some endurance dice rolling, as we are going to do a 24-hour straight game, where I'm the other side of the DM screen, and I'm going to be roughing it with these lot as we go through the world of Colossus.
Yeah, you will.
So, other than that, thank you very much, guys. We'll see you guys back here next Friday for episode 18 of Secrets Worth Dying For in Icewind Dale, and episode 5 in Baldur's Gate for Candlekeep Mysteries on Monday nights over at the Short Rest. I'll hand back to AD if you've got any final comments before we wrap up for the evening.
I do not. You said everything I'd have said anyway. Thank you very much for watching. Everything Rob said, go do it. There is a Just Giving button beneath the stream that will take you to the donation page. It's also on my Facebook and the Heavyweight Gaming Facebook Heavyweight Gaming Facebook page, and it will be up on Twitter as of tomorrow when I do all my lovely admin. But yeah, the charity we are raising the money for is 24-hour one shot is the McIntyre charity. If you just literally Google it. It is our beautiful Vale works for McIntyre, and they are a charity that looks after children, young adults and adults that need a fair amount of support with their learning, or if they're in an autistic environment, or I'll let Vale explain that way better next time. But yeah, they've got 1,200 plus.
Autistic environment.
There you go.
I am an autistic environment.
You are. Well, we'll give you a few quid out of the money. No kiss.
We'll buy you an ice cream.
We'll buy you an ice cream. So yes, they look after 1,200 plus folk that are in need of their support. So if we can raise a few quid from it, it'd be great. And over the last couple of years, Heavyweight Gaming, myself and all my incredibly I'm honoured to have as friends geeky community, we've managed to raise £4,000 plus. So I want to keep that going every year and keep trying to none of us running a marathon, I tell you right now. So if you can throw a few quid in, great. If you can't, rob your mates. It's that simple. I'll take it from anywhere. I'll take the money from anywhere to be put into the charity pot Well, don't clip that. I'll kill you, Dave. Simple.
Just straight up murdered. I would just kill them.
Mods, get the fuck off the clip now. So, take care of yourselves.
I'll do it.
I hate you. Thank you very much, Rob. Thank you very much, Shortwest Tavern. And we'll see you all soon. So for now, us players say goodbye. Goodbye,
Bye,
players.
Bye, players.
Bye.
Bye.
Nearly fell off my ball.